So let's look at the things that we can actually do on a practical level. Now, I'm really big on food. People that know me will know that food's been a major player in my world of health for, like I said before, about 2.5 decades. So, one of the biggest things is just to get as much as we get out of mainstream media, get out of mainstream food. If you're living on junk food, just stop. My rule is if I can't see what the thing looked like when it was growing, I don't touch it, except for maybe buckwheat flour, but that's just when I'm feeling rebellious. So, just get off the sugar. We have so many options that are so much better for us. We know that sugar, it feeds the parasites, it feeds molds, it feeds cancers, it feeds all of the cells except the ones that we actually need. And processed sugar, I should say, fruit's awesome. And get off the processed foods. Reduce your medications where possible, as in, if don't go throwing your heart medicine away. I don't want you dying in my hands. But we know that doctors hugely over prescribe things like antibiotics where they're just not required. Painkillers, there's so many natural versions of painkillers. Anytime there's a need to pop a pill, just to consider, do you really need to pop a pill, or is there something else that we can do? And that's your own process of inquiry, and this is part of that coming back to self and reclaiming that sovereignty to just be questioning, what does my body actually need right now? Because our body knows how to heal itself, and it knows what it wants to do. All it requires from you is to get out of the frickin' way, and that means stop poisoning it. And that means detoxing from things like from molds and from heavy metals. Like, there's a lot of information out there around getting rid of heavy metals out of the system. Again, Dr. Deitrich Klinghardt talks about this in great length, and so does Dr. Axe. Mars, I'm sure you've got plenty of doctor recommendations as well, as far as detoxing goes, that we'll add to the end of this video. There's so many.
Raymond Francis is a great one.
Yeah, Raymond Francis, absolutely. I've got him on our list for sure. Keeping up your vitamins, especially vitamin C, like that's absolutely key at the moment. Vitamin C and zinc. Go and look into them. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to give you all the medical advice. But seriously, there is so much stuff you can do to help clear yourself out, clean out the liver, clean out all of the metals, clean out the molds, clean out the sugars. The quicker we can get ourselves back in connection with our bodies through eliminating those toxins and then the accompanying parasites that are eating all of those toxic things that we're taking in, the quicker that we can just get back to ourselves. And, I'm still working on it. I've been working on it for a long time. My last one is coffee. I'm almost there. And the other thing is, I don't know how it is for you guys out in the rest of the world. In Australia, we've got stay-at-home signs everywhere, and we've got beach closed signs everywhere and park signs closed everywhere. I don't care. I still go out. I've got to go and get my negative ions from the beach, and I strongly urge you to do the same. We absolutely need it on for our health. Get your feet straight on the ground for 20 minutes a day, just to ground the energy, to drain those excess electromagnetic fields, rays, charge out of your body, just to get some balance. And the other thing is breath. We talked about masks just being this atrocity to your immune system. There's so much stuff you can do with your breath. Look at Kundalini yoga, look at pranayama, controlled breathing. It triggers the vagus nerve to induce relaxation. So, when you're feeling stressed, you're feeling overwhelmed, come back to the breath. And in fact, Onkatej Kaur, I was interviewing her, I think it was in Spiral Outloud number 3 or 4, and she talks a lot about the breath as well. So go and check that one out. And from on a mental and emotional level, this is a time for meditation to really get in tune with yourself. And if you're too restless to meditate, then just sit there and do some form of breathing practice. The other tool I've been using is Psyche. I did a workshop in it a couple of months ago, and that's been incredible, just to work through fears, work through any restrictions, any blockages that the body has on any level. It just really helps to bring balance into that. So when lockdown ends, I'll be running those sessions as well. If you want to know more about it, ask me. And educate yourself. There's so many amazing doctors out there talking about health, about detox, about EMFs, about so many different things like that. Mars, you mentioned Dr. Francis, and we've mentioned Dr. McCullough, Dr. Klinghardt, Dr. Axe. Is there anyone else that you would recommend for people interested in their health?
Another important mineral to keep on top of is magnesium, and Dr. Carolyn Dean is an expert at it. She's devoted 20 years of her life just to studying the effects of lack of magnesium in the body. It's such an important one to look at. It's really up there with vitamin C.
Yeah.
Dr. Eric Berg is very good for treatment of more minor issues, things from like tinnitus to vision problems, eczema, all sorts of conditions like that. He's really good at those. And overall, as far as detox and iridology, would be Dr. Morse. I can't recommend him highly enough. One thing I just want to point out, though, with all of these doctors that are more holistic, just like mainstream medicine, they don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
And you will see discrepancies amongst some of them on some ways of doing things, but they're all there trying to get the best answers possible. So you sort of need to expect that there are going to be differences of opinion in some things. So just try and get a wide overview from as many of these alternative doctors as you can, and try what you feel works, or what your instincts tell you will work, and if that doesn't work, move on to the next one. There are no true experts at any of this, in my opinion, but they're certainly a lot better than the alternative, which is the mainstream.
Yeah, and I agree with that, and I find that often, one doctor's approach will work for one thing, and another doctor or combination of will work for something else. And similarly with natural therapies, sometimes acupuncture will work for one thing, but I'll need to go over to, a naturopath or kinesiology or something else for a different issue. So, we all have the things that are medicine for us at particular times, and that is another aspect of just learning to listen to yourself and know the bits that are working for you. And talking about the bits that are working for you, as far as technology goes, I mean, I've always been extremely sensitive to EMFs, and oversensitive to I won't have long conversations on the mobile phone. I need to do Zooms via wired in computers these days. And Mars, have you got some recommendations for what people can do to just reduce their exposure?
Well, being wired in as much as possible is the first step. It's like a lot of these things, it requires a combination of money to deal with some of these matters, but common sense is another one. Any of these things, even if you are dependent on things like Wi-Fi or mobile data, at least switch it off when you're not using it, bare minimum. Try and keep them as far away from you as possible. Especially when you're in your sleeping environment, make sure those things are switched off, because your body's dealing with poisons and toxins and exposures as you're sleeping. That's its time when it's repairing and recovering.
Yeah, especially between like 10 and 2 o'clock or something like that is like the key time where your body's regenerating itself. Yeah.
Yeah, and it depends on your sensitivity levels. Not everybody is as sensitive as others, but for people that are particularly responsive to especially electromagnetic radiations, you can do things like one of the cheapest ways you can deal with that to some extent is with earthing sheets. I don't know if people know what those are, but it's basically an electrically conductive bed sheet that you connect via a wire into the earth itself, like a ground wire, or you can do it through the earth point on a power socket. And what that does is it discharges built up charge on your body that we really shouldn't have, which is built up by electromagnetic radiations. I know the people that have used those have experienced significant reductions in sensitivities.
Yeah, well, I've got an earthing sheet and I've also got an earthing pad that you can use on your desk when you're working at the computer, but I've actually got it on the floor so I have my bare feet on it. And I know that you can also get them to plug into your car, which apparently are very good too. And yeah, the one that I've got just plugs into the PowerPoint and, as you say, just straight into the earthing point.
For people that are hypersensitive, that becomes more of a problem because you basically need to deal with the fact that you've got neighbours with their Wi-Fi switched on all the time. You've got mobile towers, you've got dirty power in the walls, you've got all these sorts of issues. One of the things you can look at is cleaning up your power in the walls. So power conditioners can do that. They're expensive, but you know, it's a case of what's worth more to you, the money in your bank or your health. It really comes down to that. It's the same with a lot of these matters. Fluoride in the water, well, you need relatively expensive filters to get rid of that. It really is up to each individual. What is their health worth to them and how much they're willing to spend to ensure their health.
And Deitrich Klinghardt talks a lot about EMFs, and there's actually a great interview he did with Dr. McCullough. I'll put a link to it in the comments, the description of this video. And he actually has a lot of tips on how to deal with EMS for people that are sensitive, including canopies and clothing, and also using it wasn't aluminium foil. I think it was there was some kind of foil you can use just to put on the walls. You know, if you need to do something for under $20, there is a way that you can do it. Doesn't look particularly pretty, but hey, if it's going to save your health. So depending on what your budget is, he's got a lot of ways that you can actually start to tackle that. And just some of the other just little basic health tools. If you don't know about MMS yet, I strongly recommend you check out MMS, which was, not even discovered, but the use of it was discovered by Jim Humble about 20 years ago. And so I've been using that for quite a few years now, regularly. Also, Silver Pulsar is a little electrical machine that you put some electrodes on your wrists, and it basically sends electrical pulses in through your skin, and it cleans your blood. So your blood travels through your whole body every 3 minutes. So if you wear it for about half an hour, your blood has gone through a cleansing about 10 times. And that's good for pathogens, viruses, things like that. If I feel a cold coming on, will use it. If I'm feeling sick for whatever reason, I will use it, and I find that to be very helpful. And, you know, keep up your walks in nature. We can't get enough of our trees. Mars, any other practical tips from you? So last of all, what can we dream? You know, we like to dream big. And I think, you know, for all of the attention, that it is very helpful to look at what's the current scenario is, what is going on in our world. It's also super important to just look at, you know, what does health mean to you? What do you want to see created? What do you want to generate into your world? And, you know, learning different ways to communicate, such as learning muscle testing so that you can have an immediate dialogue with your body. Clear your body out of all those toxins that we mentioned before. Look at how you can clear up your pineal gland. That'll help you to connect with your own spirit so that you can find your own answers. I mean, you know, for all of this noise, it's just really honing in the absolute need to be able to shut out from the noise and just listen to yourself. And so many of us just don't know how to do that, or we just haven't practiced it for so long that little muscle's gone to sleep. And just keep dreaming the dream that you want to dream for this world. For me, the more that I see how all the different structures in this world are currently controlled or have been controlled, the more I realize how much possibility is available to us and what we actually can generate, because I realize that so much of our smallness has been created, and so many of the roadblocks to getting anything done have been created. And when we remove those, then the possibilities for what we actually can generate are absolutely massive. So dive into the center of your fantasy world and just bring your most wonderful, wildest dreams out into the world. Let's see all the hospitals and medicines and medical centers, replaced by health retreats. Let's see our supermarkets replaced by beautiful, stunning permaculture gardens where we can go and learn about our food as we buy them. You know, we pick our own food. Let's just build a beautiful space, build on strength and resilience and collaboration and co-creation. You know, there's nothing stopping us now, is there?
Nothing at all. Just ourselves.
Just ourselves. Just ourselves. That's all we've got to blame. Just ourselves. So get in touch with yourself and all will be hunky-dory. Mars, have you got anything else to say before we head off?
Look after yourselves. No one else is going to do it for you.
That's right. Well, we'll all look after each other when we can. When we're out of lockdown, it'll be a bit of an easier process. But anyway, thanks for listening, guys, and thanks, Mars, for being here. Awesome chatting to you as always.
My pleasure, as usual.
Thank you very much. And if you have enjoyed this session, please press the like button on whatever platform you are currently looking at. I want to say YouTube, but I don't know how long we're going to be able to stick around on YouTube, so you might be watching this on BitChute or somewhere else. Please subscribe. Content for content creators like us, a subscribe or a like button, it's like a hit of crack. Seriously, it is so good, and it only takes you 2 seconds. So do it. We will love you forever. Even better, send us a comment or subscribe. Email me, info@in-spiral.org. All right, that's it from us. Until next time, my friends, be well and keep dreaming the good dream. Ciao for now.